All right, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today's Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Savage Arms. And today on the show, got a friend of mine from the industry, and she's one of the cooler people. And if you ever have a chance to go have dinner with her, you should, because she's also a foodie, and she's going to have everything scoped out before you get there. It's pretty good. So please welcome into the show, Ronelle Franklin. Ronelle, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm glad to be here.
So Ronelle works with American Outdoor Brands, aka AOB, and specifically you work with the Lockdown brand, which is something we've been talking about a lot lately. So if they're not familiar, give them a little background on that.
Yeah, so Lockdown, we've been around for a decade officially now. Started in vault accessories, the standard dehumidification, lighting, organization. And this last year is where we really took it to the next level in a way that really only we can. And we brought technology to the firearms industry when it comes to, keeping your firearms secure. And that was with the puck. I don't know how much you want to go into that. I know that you have been talking about it quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Lockdown, I had Lockdown stuff. There were these little safe accessory things that were really neat. And from back in the day, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And you guys have brought technology into the Lockdown systems. And we talked about the Lockdown puck, which is really neat. Something that you can put into your safe, or I think, Ronelle, you guys seem to keep on coming up with new ways to use it. Is that fair to say?
That's absolutely fair to say. It was at the heart of Lockdown is always firearms. So it was designed to be used, in your gun vault, tracking temperature, tracking humidity, track movement. But, what we recognized is that, your firearms aren't always in your gun vault. So, the puck can be taken with you or, where most places where your firearms are. But really, it's, you keep things in your firearms, or you keep things in your gun safe other than firearms, anything that you want to have protected. And that's what the puck's there for. It's designed for firearms, but it's going to protect any of your valuables.
Right. So we'll come back to more of the Lockdown stuff because there are new products out there that we should talk about. But I wanted to talk about your journey into this world. Audience, background story on how I met Ro. We were at the NRA show in Nashville. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
And Ronelle started at Crimson Trace, and the marketing team at Crimson Trace is very tight-knit group, and a lot of fun. So I had a dinner set up with them, and I get there, and one of the guys who ran the thing said, "Oh, we got a new person. You're going to love it." One of my favorite things is to watch Ronelle eat. I went, what? So explain our night, and it was fun because you were super into trying new restaurants. It's one of the fun things with travel. For most of us.
Yeah, it was. The restaurant was amazing. And it started off. It started off with a right turn right from the get-go. We had, based on your guys' recommendation, we needed to get these duck fat tater tots. Well, they're not served on the first floor. They're only served on the second floor. So you immediately had to sweet talk the waitress into getting us these duck fat tater tots.
Yep.
And, it was, of course, a great night. Crimson Trace was such a fun company. And Lord knows, everybody knows that you guys are such a fun company. It was the perfect first meeting. I don't know if Nashville NRA is the first NRA that anybody should go to.
Ooh, it's wild. Yeah, Nashville is not the Nashville of 15 years ago when I'd been there, initially. It's crazy. I think Nashville is the capital of bachelorette parties now. It's nuts.
Oh.
Yeah.
I believe it. Now, wasn't that the first year of the Hired Guns also?
I don't know if it was the first year or not, but yeah. So the Hired Guns is a band, like a musical band, rock band that I put together with some people from the industry, and we try to do it each year at NRA show, but obviously we don't have it this year. But next year we will, or actually this year, we're in 2021. Houston, September, NRA show. We will ride again. It's going to be fun.
Yay!
Yeah, it's going to be good. So, Ronelle, how did you get, so you started at Crimson Trace. Did you have a background in guns or shooting before that?
Aside from growing up in the country, no. I was out of college. I went to college in Oregon, and I graduated, and I decided to travel for a year. And when I came back, and I was bartending all through college, and while that year that I was traveling, and I decided it was time to grow up. And I found out that nobody will hire you until you have experience.
Right. But I have
So
to
there was,
get experience to get hired.
Yeah, but I need to get experience to get hired. So I finally went to this temp agency, and I said, just get me anything that's not bartending. And they said, well, do you like guns? And I said, well, yeah. I mean, I like to shoot them.
Guns are
and
cool.
They said, okay, let's go. Yeah, guns are cool. I'm down for that. So they said, okay, go work in Crimson Trace's customer service. And, no, I don't think anybody's wild about working at a call center. But, I wanted to try it. I wanted to try something new. I liked guns. And the second I walked into the doors at Crimson Trace, just the culture, you could feel it when you walked in. And I knew that was where I wanted to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was great. And, I remember in my interview, the gentleman who became still one of my close friends, who was interviewing, he's like, Ronelle, how do you feel about this being a temp agency? And I said, Kevin, I don't want you to worry yourself, because this isn't going to be a temporary job. I love it here. I'm going to work my tail off. You're not going to want to get rid of me. Don't worry. This isn't a temp job. And he started laughing. And, it was about a year later, I was in the marketing department. I saw the cool things that they were doing. I know you remember the Midnight 3 gun.
Yes.
And all those endeavors they were kicking on.
Ooh, can we talk about that? So Midnight 3 gun, so this was one of the cooler events that you guys did, said, okay, how do we show off lights and lasers, and this 3-gun craze is going on and all this stuff. So a 3-gun competition completely all at night. And for the most part, there were no lights to help you. It was the lights and lasers on the gun were the only thing helping you out, as I recall.
Yeah, correct.
And then we'd go from, I don't know, like 8 p.m. until 3 a.m. And then everyone would do this for 2 or 3 more days and be zombies. It was interesting.
Yeah, from what I'm told, it was grueling and it was exhausting, and that it was, one of those events that everybody talked about all year long because it was so amazing.
It was crazy.
And it was after one of those events that I emailed the director and I said, hey, I have a degree in sociology. I always wanted to get into marketing. If you need me help, you know where my cube's at. And it was about 6 months later, they brought me over. And a few months after that is when they said, we're not going to do Midnight 3 guns anymore. And I was crushed. I was so excited. Everybody loves this thing. And
you learn a lot.
We got to do a lot of other fun stuff.
Yeah. You learn a lot from doing that. I remember one thing I learned was, so when you lay down prone to shoot some targets that are 100, 200 yards away, and you turn on your light to light them up to see them, you can see them with a good light at 100 yards. But the very first shot you take, all the dust in Bend, Oregon blows up, and your flashlight is lighting up the dust, and you go, where'd the targets go? I don't see anything. So yeah, lesson learned. Suppressors would be a good idea.
Yeah, and it's so different, because if there's one thing that I really learned at my time at Crimson Trace when it came to, firefights, it's, people don't train with a light as often as they train with their firearm.
Right.
It's not even a small percentage. And it is so nuanced. And it's those little things like that you don't think about. People want more lumens on your handgun. I want to, when I go to run through the house in the middle of the night with my firearm, I want the whole living room lit up.
Yeah.
And then, you learn about, light blinding, and you don't want that. You want like 100 lumen light so that, you don't lose your night vision. And it was those really neat, nuanced things about firearms training that I loved coming out of Crimson Trace with. Absolutely.
Yes. We want all the lumens. We want 1,000 lumens, 2,000 lumens. Actually, you don't. Yeah. And usually those are things that are said by people more lumens would be better, right? I mean, well, it depends on the scenario. And you learn this stuff once you actually try it, once you actually do some night shooting, once you actually go into a shoot house and then you turn on the light. And like you said, you could be light blind or whatever. I've also discovered this. This is another weird one for you. Having a fiber optic illuminated reticle on your home defense long gun, and then you put a big bright flashlight on it. The light can be so bright that you're having a hard time seeing the dot in your optic.
Yep.
That was another weird one.
Yeah.
So
and it's one of those things, you buy these gadgets, you put them on there, but you're so rarely shooting at night that you don't even think about it. You don't even have the opportunity to go out and train with it.
Yeah. But
so you don't think about it.
But you got a sweet looking gun for Instagram, right? You put all the stuff on your gun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Tag all the people.
What about all these new shooters out here? So you kind of have had this journey already. You were, I shot a little bit growing up, but then you got into the industry and did quite a bit more shooting. And now they're telling us that we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of about 8 million new gun owners out there. I mean, thinking about, you kind of had this experience, and I guess, what would you tell them? I mean, where do you start with all this stuff?
Training. It is. Yeah. For me, it was amazing. I was a recreation.
You still there, Ronelle? Did you, Ronelle, hit the mute button?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So, it's training. When I started at Crimson Trace, I was a recreational shooter. You'd go out on the weekends and nobody has formal firearms training, and we're making all the unsafe actions you can, and, we somehow come out of there okay. And it wasn't until I got to Crimson Trace and I went to Gunsight, actually. It was right after I had gotten into the marketing department. I went and I took a 250 course, and it was amazing. The confidence and respect that you leave for firearms, that you leave with for your firearms is amazing. And you can never have enough training. You can never stop having enough training. And with all the new shooters out there, that's the one thing that I tell everybody: go get some training. Go and keep looking for them. Training classes are everywhere, and I wish that people had more access to them and more knowledge about how many firearms instructors are probably within their neighborhood. They'd be happy to take them out and just work on your stance. And as a few years ago, I had my daughter. That was a year and a half that I did not pick up a firearm. A year and a half. And let me tell you, when shooting, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, it's
if you don't go out and train with it.
Yeah, it's a diminishing skill for sure. Hey, a quick message from our sponsor of this Gun Talk Nation, Savage Arms. You guys know Savage, known for very accurate, very affordable rifles. Well, their newest one is called the Impulse, and it's a straight pull. So the bolt goes straight back and straight forward, no up, down, and all that stuff. It's lightning fast, and of course, they're known for accuracy. One of the things they did with the Impulse is they put a lot of features into the gun right off the bat, and a lot of different configurations. So you've got the Hog Hunter version, the Big Game version, and the Predator version. So calibers like 6.5 Creedmoor, 30-06, 300 Win Mag, 308, as well as Predator versions like 22, 250, 243, that type of thing. They also have their Savage features like the Accu Trigger and the Accu Stock and those types of things. So check them out, Savage Arms. We appreciate their support. Now back to the show. We like to say that there is this aha moment, this INTOT. I never thought of that moment, especially when you go to a multi-day gun class like you do at Gunsight. What were some of those takeaways, some of those revelations for you when you did your first real gun class?
Ooh, so the Gunsight 250 course, it's 5 days, and you'll go through almost 1,000 rounds. And you're doing it on the range, and you're doing it in the shoot house, and you're doing it in ravines. So there was a lot. I would say that, one thing that I really learned is that overconfidence is stupid. I was on the range And of course, I'm the only girl, and there's, men of all ages, and, the ones who I've been shooting for all my life, and, I know how to handle a gun, and it doesn't matter if I flag people because my finger's not on the trigger, and I have perfect gun control. And, it was, and seeing the instructors and how they reacted to that and what they were telling them, it really taught me that, no matter how much knowledge you have of a firearm, you have to respect it. You have to respect the power that it has, and always be, maintaining those 4 rules of firearm safety.
Absolutely. And I think that's sometimes, and you kind of alluded to it, I think that's a little bit of the challenge, the battle for people as they get more comfortable and more familiar with the guns. And you can really become complacent as far as the safety goes. And it's a challenge to all of us. And anyone listening to this, like, don't get complacent. You need to think through this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, I tell you what, though, yes, more people should get more training, and everybody wants to go, what's the new gear? What's the new gadget? Let me go buy this or that. But, man, I think someone told me, because there are a lot of training. We talk about training on the show all the time, Gun Sight and SIG Academy and Thunder Ranch and Boondocks and all these different places that do it. And like you said, now there's actually probably even more accessibility for training because there's just a lot of places. But I was told that as far as people who really take a few classes each year, there's probably only about 10,000 people in the whole country that take those types of classes beyond like a one-day class, which is incredible to me.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's sad.
Yeah. I mean, owning the guns is fun and all that, but wouldn't it be more fun to be really proficient with it? I mean, yeah, you can own a bowling ball, and I can go out there and I'm going to throw a 75. Okay, I can own the fanciest freaking bowling ball in the world. I'm not going to break 100. Just confessions from Ryan here. But, I mean, owning golf clubs, owning a guitar, all that stuff. It's like, is it cool to have a cool guitar? I guess a little bit, but it's way cooler if you can sit down and play songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Eddie Van Halen can make any guitar sound good,
and let's be honest, when it comes to shooting, it's competitive. Even if you're not a competitive person, if you go to the range and if you shoot better than anybody else there, you feel good about yourself. I don't care who you are.
For sure.
And it's why people get, these accessories and these modifications, because they, like you said, I want to have the cool gun. I want to have a cool accessory. I want to be a really good shooter. So it amazes me that, we can go out, we can buy these firearms, we can buy these add-ons, but we don't train with them.
Right.
We don't really maximize their full potential because, there's either, you're just not putting in the effort to go train with it.
And like you said at the beginning, and if you don't train with it, there may be something you're putting in the gun that actually messes you up. It doesn't work like you thought it was going to work, or it's actually not what you need, and it becomes a hindrance.
Yep. I just ran into that when I moved over here. So right before I found out I was pregnant, I put a set of night sights on my shield.
Okay.
And, I throw it in there. I didn't get to shoot it for a year and a half aside from dry firing around the house. And we moved to Columbia. I can start shooting again. I pull it out. I go to the range. I can't hit anything. I mean, I made it through a 250 gun sight course. I mean, I shot 1,000 rounds with this, and I was a crack shot with this when I put it away. Now I can't hit anything. And at first I thought it was me. And then I realized that the night sights, you have to aim, you have to set them up different than your standard iron sights. Well, and I remember your Gary Killingsworth talking about this when he first put his on, and I had completely forgotten it until I was at the range that day. That it's a tiny bit difference, but that tiny bit difference makes all the difference in the world.
Well, it's true, and we have, I guess, mostly the blessing, sometimes the curse of shooting a lot of different guns, and it's nice when you have the gun that you shoot all the time, you're used to, where the sights are on. But I've definitely discovered that you get a certain gun in, you go, oh, this is more of like a lollipop hold. You know, the target needs to be sitting on top
Yep.
of the sights. Or no, this is a center of mass. The sights need to cover up what you're trying to shoot. And it varies. It varies. I mean, we think, oh, they're all fixed
Hmm.
sights and all this stuff, and you just go out there and shoot. But as far as being precise and shooting like a headshot or an A zone shot, yeah, you're gonna have to know exactly where those iron sights are.
Absolutely. And it's those little itty bitty changes that you don't give as much credit to. But I have to say, I think the one thing that impacted me going out of my firearms training is he said that, Ronelle, um, when your life is on the line, when you're in a state of panic, when your adrenaline's up, everybody, no matter who you are, will revert to their lowest level of training.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a bedside gun and you've got it in your safe that's right there next to your bedside, you know where it is, you know what the code is. If you haven't practiced rolling out of bed in the dark without your glasses on, putting in that code, grabbing your firearm, and getting it to the bedroom door, that's not what's going to happen. That smoothness is not what's going to happen when you go to do that.
Right.
You're gonna hear a noise. You're gonna fumble around. You're gonna fall out of bed. You're gonna jump up. You're gonna be trying to push in the code with two hands, but normally you do it with one hand. You're gonna be grabbing it. And he said you have to, even those little things, even at home. He said roll out of bed, practice grabbing that gun and getting it to the door. Practice clearing your house. You should know every foot placement on how to clear your own house. And
Right.
it should be like second nature.
And there are some things when you do that,
And
of course, you need to do it with a very unloaded gun, nobody in the house, take those
absolutely.
steps very slowly and carefully. But there are some great benefits to doing that. That was when I mentioned the whole turning on the bright flashlight and now I can't see the red dot. That happened from me walking around my house, kind of doing a little practice clearing, going, oh, when I turn on the light, the red
Mm-hmm.
dot disappears because the light's so bright. And it also, you start figuring out some maybe little tools of like, if I have a mirror on that landing, I can see down the other side of the landing on those stairs. Some things like that. You should absolutely have the home turf advantage, home field advantage. It's your
Mm-hmm.
house, so let's set up a couple little strategic things in place to make you better prepared.
Absolutely.
So, as you guys have heard, I mean, Ronelle has been through this journey. I appreciate you giving us your experience on this stuff. And going back to the lockdown, so I know it's a new year. New Year's when our world starts bringing out new stuff. So, what are some of the new stuff for you guys right now that you want to tell people about?
Well, what everybody wants to hear about is the lockdown vault door.
Yes, the
Yes, that
smart
it
vault
is going.
door, smarter
Yes,
than me.
the smart vault door. So, it's fantastic. It's going to be the most cost effective door on the market, the most technologically advanced. It's beautiful. I mean, when you've seen it in real life, you walk up to this thing and you're redesigning your house to find a spot for this door, and it's going to be here in spring of this year. I'm going to bring you one and get it
Awesome.
installed so that when we come down, we can play with it. I'm really excited. That is definitely the product that is all the hubbub, is that vault door. And to gear up for that vault door launch, Lockdown is going to be doing a lot of fun stuff. There's going to be a lot of opportunities between now and then to take home some really cool giveaways that haven't been announced yet, but it's definitely worth keeping track of Lockdown right now.
Very cool. Yeah. So the vault door, when we talk about this, you guys know gun safes and the door on a gun safe, but this is basically like a gun safe door that you would put on a particular room or closet or some place that you'd like to create your own vault in your house or office or whatever, right?
Yep. It can replace virtually any door in your home. So if you've got
Okay.
a room that, an office or a room that you're not really using that you think would look really good with guns hung up nice on the wall, it's very easy to transform that room into a vault room.
Very cool. And it has talk for just a minute about the technology because you go, okay, you enter a code, it unlocks, cool. But I mean, there's a lot more to it.
There is. So, vault doors themselves are not new. They've been around, and ours is just, as you mentioned, the most technologically advanced. So not only is ours ultra secure, it's got 4 locking bolts, but it's going to connect to your Wi-Fi if you want it to. You can choose to not do this, but you can connect it to your Wi-Fi, download our free Logic app. There's no subscription fees, and it's going to tell you the temperature, the humidity. You can set it so you can get an alert if the temperature, humidity is too high in there. It will tell you if the door is being tampered with, if the door gets opened. You can set a code for different people in your family and actually be alerted when a certain code accesses the door. There's really just a lot of amazing features, and it just gives you that security that no other vault door on the market today is going to give you, which is, app tracking.
Very cool. Yeah. Using technology to secure your lifestyle. That's what Lockdown's all about. So, Ronelle, thanks for being with us. This is fun.
Yeah, thank you.
So, how do they? I know that the teaser alert. There is some stuff coming in the next couple months from Lockdown that you're going to want to keep abreast of. How do they keep track of you guys?
Yeah, so lockdown.com is the website. We've got some details on the vault doors there for you. But really, social media, Lockdown Secured on both Instagram and Facebook. That's where you're going to want to keep track of us for all the fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ronelle. Get out there, get some training, people. You will be more proficient and probably be the smartest shooter at the range, which, it's kind of fun. So that's it for us. We will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.